Good evening, class. We're going to be working on categorical data and numerical data. So go ahead out and get out your notes and let's get started. Okay, categorical data is a data set where the response is not a numeric value. For example, it could be a favorite color or it could be a favorite color or your favorite genre of books. It could be your favorite movies, things like that. I don't know what I'm doing here. Why I'm not on pen, I don't know. And why it's not pinned, I don't know. But, Okay, let's try this again. Look at me making a mess. Okay, so favorite color, favorite genre of books, movies, things like that. Things like that. So it's words is basically what I'm trying to say. A table is the most common way to display categorical data because it's easy to tally the responses. When the percent of each category is calculated, it is called a relative frequency table. So we're going to be calculating percents. And guys, we've used this before. Percent over whole equals, part over whole equals percent over 100. Or you can change it to a decimal. So we're going to use the data below to determine the percents of each response represents. So the survey is taken to determine the most common pets that students have. We're going to complete the table below. So the very first thing we need to do is we need to add up a total, right? So 6 and 4 is 10, 8 and 2 is 10, so that's 0, carry a 2. I have a 4 here, that's 10. I have another 10 there, that's 20. So I have 200 students. So when I'm figuring out the percent, this would be 62 out of 200, which would be 31 out of 100, which is 31%. I'm just doing quick fractions in my head because it's out of 200. So 84 out of 200, I just divide by 2. That gives me out of 100. So this would be 42. So it's 42%. 38% would be 38 out of 200, which is 19 out of 100 or 19%. And then the fish are 16 out of 200, which is 8 out of 100 or 8%. And then it says which percent of the hamsters have a fish or a hamster. So my fish is 8% and my hamster is 19%. So I need to add those up and I get 27%. Which pet has the greatest relative frequency? They're asking which one has the greatest number or highest percentage, and that's going to be dogs at 42%. And exactly 73% of students own which two pets. So you're going to be looking at these and figuring out which add up to 73. And I see very quickly that these two numbers add to 73. So they either own a cat or a dog. Mr. Carpenter's 5th grade social studies class participates in a mock election. Complete the table below. So first thing we need to do is add up our votes. I have 9 and 9 is 18 plus 2 is 20, carry my 2. And I have out of 30 students. So 12 out of 30 equals what out of 100 is our first one. 3 out of 30 equals what out of 100? 6 out of 30 equals what out of 100? And 9 out of 30 equals what out of 100? We're going to do cross multiplication. So we're going to multiply, then divide, multiply, then divide, multiply, then divide, multiply, then divide. So when we multiply across, I get 1,200 divided by 30, and that ends up being 40% of the votes. Can't see that color over here, 40%. This is 300 divided by 30. 300 divided by 30 is 10% of the votes. This one is 600 divided by 30. That is 20% of the votes. Those are percent symbols, really poorly drawn, but no. And this is 900 divided by 30, which is 30% of the votes. What percent of the voters did not vote for candidate C? So you're going to take A plus B plus D. So A is 40, B is 10, D is 30. That gives me 50, 60, 70, 80% of the voters did not vote for candidate C. What candidate got the least amount of votes? Well, look at that. Pretty easy to read. It was candidate B. Exactly 60%. Which two candidates? So you only can use two. Look at which ones, and it's A and C, because 40 plus 20 is 60. Okay, percent bar graphs display categorical data based on the percentage or relative frequency. It can be found by calculating the percent of each category and then representing each percent on a bar in a number line. They're usually colored. They're usually pretty when you're done. What you do have to do is make sure it adds up to 100. And so you're just going to read this. What percent of students chose debate? And it was 30%. What percent chose drama? 30 to 50 is 20%. And then badminton is 50 to 100, which is 50%. If 300 students were surveyed, how many chose drama? So how would we solve this? I know 30% out of 100, or 30 out of 100, chose drama. Oh, I just lied. Oopsie. How about 20%? Or 20 out of 100 chose drama. If I had 300, what would I have to do? Now, you could bat and ball, but you can also use scale factor here because it's pretty quick. 100 to 300 is times 3, so 20 times 3 is 60. There would be 60 students who chose drama. If 300 students were surveyed, how many chose badminton? Well, 50 out of 100 equals, I don't know, out of 300. Well, what's half of 300? It's 150. 150 students chose badminton. Pretty easy, right? Okay, look at number 4. Mr. Gomez surveyed all of his 6th grade classmates about their favorite pizza topping. Use the table below to sketch a percent bar graph and answer the questions. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to sketch this in. You're going to find your total first. So find your total. Then figure out your percentages. Then you're going to fill in your percent bar graph. And finally, answer the questions. Okay? Then you have a 1 to 2 sentence summary about categorical data and percent bar graphs. And when we're in class, we are going to be looking a little bit at numerical data and how that plays into being opposite of categorical data. Okay? I will see you guys in class tomorrow. I hope you have a great evening. Night.